heard that they're changing my voice. Now, this video is not a racist video. It's about how politicians mock and disgrace white, Jewish, LGBT people, and whitewashed people. Okay? I'm not trying to insult these races. I'm trying to shed light on this topic because it's very significant, and people need to know that what they're doing as a governing class is wrong, and they look very stupid. They look very bad. Point number one. Since the 1500s, every known politician has been vile, corrupt, and usually disgusting. Okay, so we'll say seemingly every known politician has been vile, corrupt, and usually disgusting. Point number two. Almost all of them have worn a suit or something similar, right? You know, back in the day before the modern suit was there, we see, you know, the wig-wearing guys and their equivalent of it. Okay. Point number three. Trump overkills the idea that politicians are lowly, okay, and obnoxious scum by his antics and behavior in general. Now, again, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is lowly or obnoxious in this video per se, okay? But the idea of Donald Trump, right, in popular culture overkills the idea that politicians are lowly, obnoxious scum by his antics and behavior in general. What I mean by the idea of Donald Trump is that they kind of, you know, put him out there as seeming like this, you know, in CNN, MSNBC, social media, and it has, you know, we have no reason to believe otherwise, right? He doesn't do anything that tells us, hey, you know, he did this or that, and he's a great guy. There's nothing that tells us that. Okay, so that's the effect it has. Even Fox News doesn't do a good job, you know, and his supporters don't do a good job of making him look good. Okay, so it's part of the process of politicians mocking and disgracing whites, Jews, LGBT people, and whitewashed people. And they need to scramble to do the right thing to correct this. Point number four. America is the richest country in the world and has some of the most influential celebrities in the world. Yet the politicians and the governing class haven't solved homelessness. Do you think people are aware of that? You betcha. They know damn well that that is a significant problem. Point number five. Now let us consider association. Point number five. Now let us consider association. Politicians resemble people at elite boarding schools and the most expensive private schools. Think about that. You know, they're guilty by association. We think of the people at these schools in a similar way that we think of politicians. Just because there's a lot of racist white people and privileged groups who try to pretend that's not the case doesn't mean that that's not the case. It is the case. It's just like when we see big corporations, right? We think politicians, we think that they have the same kind of, you know, indifference, the same kind of, you know, narcissism, what have you. They also resemble people at private schools and boarding schools in general, right? Not just the most privileged and expensive ones, right? Fraternities, police officers, military types, social clubs, teachers, athletes in suits, priests and other people in white culture-based uniforms resemble them, right? So uniform and uniformity. The word uniform and uniformity. Now, am I bashing the military in this? No. Okay, am I bashing police? No, I'm pointing out that because society has a certain uniformity, that it's not as simple as, you know, that politicians look bad by themselves. You know what I mean? It's like lawyers, right? You say, oh, another lawyer. You know, some lawyers might argue that they're decent lawyers or they're civil rights attorneys or whatever, whether they are or not. But does the association with the bad guys who are lawyers, you know, take its toll? Yes. And if they don't have a strong counter argument, is it pretty much all she wrote? I'll let you figure that one out. Okay. So they are all guilty by complicity, collective dishonesty, and association. Because these people didn't say, hey, I'm going to do things in a way that sets me apart from the politician, then they're guilty to, you know, to whatever degree they're guilty by. Okay, it's not my job in this video to pinpoint scientifically, if such a thing is possible, to what degree they're guilty, but to help you see why I'm right and why it's stupid for them to be giving me a hard time right now, fuming me, what have you, for explaining why I'm right. Okay? Is it smart for these groups to continue what they're doing? No. Do they look bad? Yes. As evictions skyrocket around the country and people are pissed off, okay, is it good to think about these things and figure out what is the moral way to proceed? Yes. Point number 6. The caricatures, cartoons, and movies also play politicians out to the extreme. In case you're wondering, if I'm mistaken or something. Point number 7. Propaganda is obviously lies, right? And people are fake as hell, evil, and childish when they live propaganda lies. Like if you're a flag waver for any politician, even Obama, anybody, okay, when he was president, for example, or running for president, okay, then you're living a propaganda lie to a large degree, right? When people saw you on TV, that's what they saw, right? When you go through life, you were like picked because you fit the description of someone who looks like a flag-waving, shallow person. Again, no offense to anybody, but that's part of your life repetition. You were chosen for a shallow role in what is like a theater arts event, a campaign or something, because you seem shallow. You seem fake and evil and childish enough to be a flag waver. So they said, hey, I'll choose him. Point number 8. The personal staff, interns, and families of politicians are clearly guilty by association and complicity. Okay, so how much can you benefit from somebody in your family being the president or whatever, right? Mayor, governor, whatever it is, without you being guilty by association and complicity, unless you do something to set yourself apart from that. Point number 9. Flag wavers are guilty. Point number 10. Part of white culture is churches, and those churches who say that the government is satanic. And they're basically right. They're right. However, they're right while refusing to be a person of God before they're white. They're right about that topic without putting God before the boundaries of the state, which are a key point of reference for the mark of the beast. The boundaries of the beast, just being out after food and shelter like an animal, humping whatever, your instincts tell you instead of using principle, what have you. Things of that nature. Whether they do one or more, you get what I'm saying. So we see that I'm right. In conclusion, it is crystal clear that politicians mock and disgrace white, Jewish, LGBT people, and whitewash people. The difference between blackface people, mocking and disgracing black people is they didn't, because black people said, hey, I'm not like him, and that's wrong, and they stood up to him. Okay, and some of them set him apart from the buck dancing and coonery and fuckery that they were mocking. Okay, when you dance to the white man's tune, you have no viable counter-argument for the blackface, something to that effect, okay? But when we look at the white cultures, let's say in college, high school, right? Populars, jocks, emos, goths, rockers, they basically grew up to be the same types of people as they were in high school, give or take, right? Erik Erikson's theory of development, for example. Okay. So they mock and disgrace them, and they don't get together and do something. Just like the politicians in this country mock and disgrace the idea of being American. Who are Americans? They're a bunch of idiots who wave flags for a bunch of scumbag politicians who, propound pure evil as if it's good. Think about it.